All right, thanks for tuning in to Leading Forecast. And I tell you what, here across the United States, it was a sweltering day. In fact, places here in Indianapolis, we saw 100 degrees down south towards Bloomington, Evansville, seeing over 100-degree temperatures, all the way out towards St. Louis, Kansas City, even down towards Oklahoma City, seeing temperatures in the hundreds. And you really have to get either into the nation's heartland or into the northeast or northwest to really start to see any kind of a major cool off. We're up towards Seattle. They were in the 60s and lower 70s today. So it's very, very nice. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of the same before a cold front comes through. We're going to see highs in the 90s, maybe even the upper 90s in some places here across Indiana, and before a cold front moves through. And that's going to be our primary focus. Tomorrow will be a cold front with thunderstorms. Going on over to the satellite map, you can see all these reds and yellows and greens. That's thunderstorms going at this hour, and that's going to be what we're going to deal with tomorrow afternoon as a cold front does start to move our way. In fact, we can go on over to radar, and you can see some of these thunderstorms that are moving through Wisconsin up towards Michigan that have prompted warnings, and these severe thunderstorm warnings and watches that are currently in effect. Looks like we'll probably see some watch boxes tomorrow. Here's the watch boxes up across those places that are in effect, and you can see some very strong storms are going to be expected up there today. In fact, the moderate risk is up across the Michigan area. We do have the slight risk that extends all the way down across the Great Lakes, even down into Kansas. And look at this tomorrow. Moderate risk all the way from southeastern Indiana up into the northeast. And we can zoom in on this a little bit and show you. We think with the timing of this cold front now that this moderate risk may be pushed a little farther west. So places here in Indiana, say Indianapolis, maybe even out towards Vigo County over towards Terre Haute, maybe even southern Indiana, could get in on this moderate risk tomorrow, as the Storm Prediction Center will issue a new one here shortly. But we think we could see some very damaging winds. In fact, here's your wind risk tomorrow, 45% with significant, with a squall line that we are expecting to develop. Here's the big player in the game here. That's the jet stream. This is the 500 millibar jet, and you can see a little bit of a trough that's setting out here now. That's starting to dig into our environment and causing a little bit of lift. But watch as we get into tomorrow as this 500 millibar trough digs in here with this hot, humid air mass we have in place and some cold air starting in back of it here. It will eventually cool us off, but not before we do see that severe weather tomorrow. Let's go ahead and time this out. This is as we get into about 1 o'clock, just after the noon hour. It looks like here across Indiana, we're going to be pretty clear here. But watch as we get a little later into the afternoon by 19Z. This is about 2 o'clock or so, 3 o'clock, we start to see these showers and thunderstorms start to develop. By 5 o'clock, these thunderstorms are going from places like Terre Haute up towards Indy, up towards Richmond. And this is what we're talking about, a big squall line of storms. In fact, as we kind of pan out here, we do see storms developing all the way from Cleveland up towards PA and then all the way back down and possibly even down into Kansas and Texas. So this is going to be quite this thunderstorm complex that develops tomorrow afternoon. Damaging winds, large hail, maybe even some tornadoes with this thing as the cold front moves through. But the good news is after tomorrow, we are going to see quite the cool down here. This is as we get into Friday. You can see highs Friday looks like they're going to top out in the 80s here across the city and down across most of the Indiana and Midwest area until you get south of about the Ohio River. As we get into Saturday, again, we're going to see highs up into the mid-80s. So it's not quite 70s or 60s like they had in the Northwest, but it does look like we're going to cool down quite a bit over the next several days. So that's the good news. We'll just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. So stay weather aware if you're going to be out and about tomorrow.